Trump is saying the quiet part out loud and is now proudly declaring that these so-called SAVE Act provisions that they've been fighting for are intended to make sure Republicans always win. Take a look.
We don't want to have mail-in ballots where they're mailed in from all parts of the place. Mail-in ballots are crooked as hell. We're the only country in the world that use this type of mail-in ballot, the only country in the world. I'll tell you what, Republicans have to win this one. We'll never lose a race. For 50 years, we won't lose a race. We want voter ID. We want proof of citizenship. And we don't want mail-in ballots except for the military far away, except for people that are ill, disabled, or people that are away. Even for a vacation, we'll be generous, okay? Other than that, we don't want mail-in ballots because mail-in ballots say cheat.
Okay, now, 32 countries allow mail-in ballots, 12 of which allow all citizens to vote that way. Their talking point may revolve around mail-in ballots, which are being unjustly targeted, but the other provisions are of even greater importance. Some of the changes proposed under the SAVE Act include eliminating mail-in ballots and requiring people to register to vote with documentary identification, such as a passport or birth certificate. Election experts have said that the changes could disenfranchise millions of voters, especially low-income households and women who changed their names due to marriage. Instead of denying that this would impact married women or changing course, Republicans are making the case that it's fine for it to be harder for married women to vote. Here's Chip Roy.
A lot of people are asking questions. They're saying, well, that's going to prevent women who've got complications with name changes. Hold on. We actually allow a fail-safe that you go and you can sign an affidavit that says, this is my driver's license. My name is Sarah Jones on my driver's license. Here's my birth certificate, Sarah Smith. I certify under penalty of perjury that I'm the same person. And we allow that. And we allow states to make other mechanisms under their laws to make sure that they match it.
Oh, you allow women to do those extra steps. How gentlemanly. And yeah, states can make other mechanisms because per the Constitution, elections are run by the states. Well, it might seem as though the SAVE Act has stalled. Trump is ratcheting up pressure. He posted this on Truth Social. We are going to have the Save America Act one way or another after approval by Congress through the very proper use of the filibuster, or at minimum by a talking filibuster, a la Mr. Smith goes to Washington. Yaz, how do you feel about this?
I feel terribly about this. Yeah, so it's like when you were asking me about the State of the Union, and he just says things are not true. He keeps saying that no other country lets their voters vote by mail-in ballots, and it's just not true. It's just objectively not factual, but he just keeps saying it and people believe it because the people who don't watch shows like this one or don't read commentary like, from anything outside of Fox News, they don't get that information, so he gets away with a lot of things. Also, mail-in ballots has never been directly linked to result in cheating or fraudulent voting. If there was widespread evidence of that, they would have presented it by now because that has been a crux of Trump's platform for years. For 10 years, he's been talking about mail-in ballots and trying to demonize them and make people afraid of anyone who votes by mailing in a ballot. And I was talking to someone about the SAVE Act the other day, and the question was, why is it a bad thing? Because they really just didn't understand the details of it. And I think that is, and the person I was talking to is generally well informed, right? And so I think that the general public is not understanding what this could mean and what it could, like the actual real life implications it could have whenever people turn up, try to vote the way that they've been voting, and then they're turned away at the polls. Because a lot of times that is what happens, right? Especially here in Texas. Chip Roy, by the way, is from Texas. Texas catches a lot of flack for voting in terrible people. And yeah, we do. We vote in a lot of terrible people. But Texas is also one of the most difficult places to vote in the country, and that is entirely by design. We are run by a very red state government, and everything they do makes it more difficult, not easier, for people in this state to vote. And For example, one year, they purged the voting rolls, and what they did was they said, you know what, just check and make sure that you haven't been purged, and if you have, then just re-register. Except they did it within a time frame that anybody who did see that they had been purged wouldn't even have time to re-register to vote. And of course, in Texas, it is a very long and lengthy and difficult process to register to vote. It's not easy. You can't just go online and register. You can't do it the day of voting. And so the idea was that people would show up to the polls and say, oh, I have been purged. What can I do to fix this right now? Oh, but it's election day and there's no time, and now I just don't get to vote. So it's little things like that. And that, arguably is not a little thing, but that is how they systematically chip away at people's rights to actually vote and be represented in this country. And they have to do this because they see the polls. They see the same polling numbers that the rest of us are seeing. And they see that, we can make things more difficult for women to vote. We can make things more difficult for the majority of Americans who don't have passports, who need to now pay over $100 to the federal government to get those passports. So it's like, it's very sinister what's happening.
Yeah, sinister is a great word for it. And it's those types of slimy tactics that they're kind of hard for people to kind of follow all of the steps. And they're, like you said, Fox, the right-wing media, will lie about the facts. Like, oh, no, they're just, they're preventing voter fraud. When in reality, it's like a little tinkering around the edges that leads to people not being able to vote. And similarly in Texas, before the repeal of Roe, or the overturn of Roe, with SB 8, as you're aware, it was, oh, we're not making abortion illegal. We're just giving you a very tiny window that prevents you from actually getting an abortion once you find out you're pregnant. Because by the time you find out you're pregnant, all of the hurdles that we require you to clear would take too long. So it's little things like that. It's like, well, no, we're not doing this. When in reality, they've just erected a bunch of hurdles and obstacles for people that are impossible to do so in their time frame. It's so deceptive. And like you said, I think sinister is the best word for it.
If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.